Good morning, students. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today I have to cover two topics. We are short of time. So today I will cover two topics. One is cinema and the other one is television. So first, let's start with cinema. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So first we'll do cinema and then we will do television. Our learning objectives are to define cinema, to describe technological development of cinema, to enumerate highlights in the history of cinema, to explain the various genres of cinema. So let's see definition of cinema. You have come across various words such as film, movie, motion picture, talkie, cinema, etc. It can be defined as a visual art form used to stimulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories, perceptions, feelings, beauty, or atmosphere through the use of moving images, generally accompanied by sound. So, this is a definition of cinema. Write down the definition. History of cinema. Cinematography is an art of motion picture photography and filming either electronically by means of image sensor or chemically by means of a light sensitive material. In 1830s, moving images were produced on revolving drums and discs. In 1878, Edward Muybridge successfully photographed a horse in fast motion using a series of 24 stereoscopic cameras. So, this is that particular image. In 1882, Etienne Jules Murray invented a chromo, chronophotographic gun which was capable of taking 12 consecutive frames a second, recording all the frames of the same picture. Public screening of 10 Lumiere brothers short films in Paris took on 28 December 1895. So this is the picture of Lumiere brothers. Please note down these points. They are important from your exam point of view. Tell me when you finish. Over.
Yes, ma'am.
First rotating camera for taking panning shots was built by Robert W. Paul in 1897 to shoot the procession of Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee in one shot. The first film studio was established by George Mellis in the year 1897. The double exposure technique was invented by George Albert Smith in 1898. First film to feature more than one shot was produced by Robert or shot by Robert W. Pauls. It was Robert W. Pauls' Come Along Jew in the year 1898. The first close-up shot was taken in G. A. Smith's As Seen Through a Telescope in the year 1900. The first science fiction film was George Melis's A Trip to the Moon in the year 1902. Please note down all the points. These points are important from exam point of view. Please mute yourselves. Should I change the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Cross-cutting editing method was used by Edward Porter in his film The Great Train Robbery in the year 1903. These are all technical details. First animated feature film was Italian-Argentine cartoonist Curino Cristini's El Apostol in the year 1917, made with cut-out animation. First feature length multi-reel film was Story of a Kelly Gang in the year 1906. First synchronized dialogue and singing in a feature film was used in The Jazz Singer in the film in the year 1927. First audiovisual Technicolor piece was Walt Disney's Flowers and Trees in the year 1932. First Technicolor film was Ruben Mamoulian's The Vanity Fair in the year 1935. Please note down. All these points are very important from your objective paper, as far as your objective paper is concerned. Should I change the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we come to history of Indian cinema. First Indian film was Dadasaheb Phalke's Raja Harishchandra in the year 1913. Very important. Then first Indian talkie was Ardeshir Irani's Alam Ara in the year 1931. Raja Harishchandra was a silent film, and for 2 decades films were not talking. It was only in the year 1931 you have a talking movie, so it was called talkie. It was Alam Ara. Then we come to 1920s and 30s. In 1920s and 30s, you predominantly find mythological films such as Sati Parvati, Jalandhar Vrunda, Lavakush, Mahabharat, Duchakatik, Sairandri, Shakuntala, and Sita Swayamvar. These are the names of the films in 1920s and 30s. Please note down. Then in the 30s and 40s, you find historical and social films such as Ranachandi, Rani Rupmati, Prithviraj Sanyogita, Chandragupta, भारत की बेटी, धर्मात्मा, अछूत कन्या, दुनिया न माने, पुकार, सिकंदर, शहनशाह अकबर, 1857, शहीद, and Jagriti. Please note down the dates, the years of release. Then starts the golden age of Indian cinema. It is from late 1940s to early 1960s. Here you find Khwaja Ahmed Abbas, Dharti Ke Lal, Raj Kapoor's Awara, Bimal Roy's Do Bigha Zameen, Prakash Arora's Boot Polish, Satyajit Ray's The Apu Trilogy, Gurudutt's Pyasa, B.R. Chopra's Naya Daur, Mehboob Khan's Mother India, which won the Oscar Award. What we call Oscar is actually Academy Award. Mother India got it for as the best foreign language film in the year 1957. Please note down these films and their release years. Then you have D. Shantaram's Do Aankhein Bara Haath, Bimal Roy's Sujata, K. Asif's Mughal-e-Azam, Gurudutt's Chaudavi Ka Chand, Raj Kapoor's Sangam, Yash Chopra's Waqt, Vijay Anand's Guide, Vijay Anand's Jewel Thief. Please note down. (1975) onwards, you find the angry young man era. The films changed around 1975. In the year 1975, India was also going through political upheaval. There was emergency, and then there was widespread, what do you can say, protest against the emergency. So you find that in the early 1970s, you had thematic stagnation. Then In the year 1975, you have Yash Chopra's Diwar. It is from this film that Amitabh Bachchan rose as an angry young man. Then Ramesh Sippy's Sholay, again you have Amitabh Bachchan in it. Then Chandra Barot's Dawn, again Amitabh Bachchan. Then Prakash Mehta's Lavaris, Manoj Kumar's Kranti, Subhash Ghai's Hero, Manmohan Desai's Coolie, Shekhar Kapoor's Mr. India. Here you find that in all these films, the hero or the protagonist is fighting against the bad people. They are fighting against the corruption. They are fighting against the criminals, organized criminal gangs. So this is the era of angry young man. In 1970s and 80s, you also find the parallel cinema, such as Mani Kaul's Duvidha, Shyam Benegal's Ankur, Basu Chatterjee's Choti Si Baat, Shyam Benegal's Manthan, Rishikesh Mukherjee's Golmaal, Sagar Sarhadi's Bazaar, Govind Nilani's Ardha Satya, T. Ramarao's Naji Mayuri, Ketan Mehta's Mirch Masala. Now, in the parallel cinema, you also find that there are stories of fight against the evil, but when you talk about the mainstream cinema, there the hero was larger than life. Here, the hero and the heroine are common people. That's how it is a parallel cinema. If the poster hero of Angry Young Man is Amitabh Bachchan, the poster hero of parallel cinema is Amol Palekar. Then we come to 1990s. Here you find rejuvenation of romance. You have N. Chandra's Tezab, Masoor Khan's Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak, Suraj Badjatia's Maine Pyar Kiya, Mahesh Bhatt's Ashiki, Lawrence D'Souza's Sajan, Suraj Badjatia's Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, Aditya Chopra's Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Karan Johar's Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, etc. Then we come to new millennium. Here you find diversification of themes. Now you are no longer limited only up to romance. You have other things coming up in the films as well. So, for example, you have Rakesh Roshan's Kaho Na Pyar Hai, which was a romantic movie. Karan Johar's Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, it was more of a family drama than a romantic movie. Ashutosh Govarikar's Lagan, it was about the struggle of Indian farmers against the British colonizers. So it was a type of patriotic movie. Farhan Akhtar's Dil Chahta Hai, Vidhu Vinod Chopra's Munna Bhai MBBS, all of you are familiar with this. Anurag Basu's Murder, Vishal Bharadwaj's Onkara, Shimit Amin's Chak De India, Ashutosh Govarikar's Jodha Akbar. So all of you are familiar with these names. So there should not be any problem when you have to attempt objective questions. on cinema. Then you have Rajkumar Hirani's Three Idiots, Rajkumari Santoshi's Ajab Prem Ki Ganjab Kahani, Abhinav Kashyap's Dabang, Siddiqui's Bodyguard, Milan Lutharia's The Dirty Picture, Rohit Shetty's Chennai Express, Neeraj Pandey's MS Dhoni, The Untold Story, Saket Chaudhary's Hindi Medium, Amit Sharma's Badhai Ho, Zoya Akhtar's Gully Boy. So we come to the contemporary cinema. In 2020, you do not have major film releases due to Corona pandemic. It is quite simple enough. Now we come to regional cinema. I'm just giving the names of some major films in that particular language. So in the Assamese language, you have Joymati. In Bengali, you have Devdas, Nagrik, the Apu trilogy, Chorus, 36 Chaurangi Lane, Padma Nadir Majhi, Chokher Bali, Aparijata Tumi. In Odia, you have Sita Vivaha, Vivaha. Sita Vivaha. In Odia, it becomes Vivaha. Sri Loknath. In Bhojpuri, you have Nadiya Ke Paar and Sasura Bada Paise Wala. These are the major films. There are many other films, but I have just given highlighted the main movies. Then in Punjabi, you have Teri Meri Ek Jingdi, Chand Pardesi, Kurbani Jatki, The Lion of Punjab, Sada Haq, Patiala Dreams. In Gujarati, you have Narsi Mehta and Ranak Devi. In Marathi, you have Santak Tukaram, Shamchi Ai, Songadia, Pinsra, Samna, Jaitre Jait, Zogwa, Natrang, Sairat, etc. In Kannada, you have Samskara and Vansha Vruksha. These names can also be asked as objective questions. In Malayalam, you have Chimin, Kodiyettam, Piravi, Swaham, Vanaprastham. In Tamil, you have Chandralekha, Veerapandiya, Kattabomman, Mullum, Malarum, Munadram Pirai, and Chandramukhi. In Telugu, you have Bhakta Prahlad, Malliswari, Bhagyarekha, Pratighatana, Shiva, Vanaja, Bahubali. All of you are familiar with Bahubali. It is basically a Telugu movie and then it is dubbed in Hindi. Then we come to the genres of cinema. Genre means stylistic category where a particular movie can be placed based on the setting, characters, plot, mood, tone, and theme. For example, you have action movie where risk and adventure are given most importance. Then animation, where you have manipulation of inanimate objects to make them appear alive. Experimentalist movies, where you have surrealism and absurd drama. Mythological movies, based on mythology such as Bible, Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. Please note them down. Next, you have crime movies, which deal with both sides of criminal justice system, but does not focus on legislative matters or civil suits and legal actions. There, you have various subcategories such as heist movies, where the focus is on the robbery, then gangster, police movies. When you talk about Dabang, it is a police movie, but it is more in action movies than in crime movie. Then there is detective movies. You can find that there is overlapping among various genres as well. Next comes drama, where focus is on emotions and intense situations without sensationalism. Here you have docudrama, family drama, melodrama, social drama, political drama. And you also have teen drama. Please note them down. Next, we come to fantasy movies. It is a story full of magic, mythical creatures, and supernatural elements set in a fictional universe where normal, realistic, natural laws do not apply. You have contemporary fantasy, dark fantasy, high fantasy, myth, and urban fantasy. The best example of fantasy is Harry Potter movies. Then you come to historical movies which are set in a particular historical time, such as biography or biopic, historical event, historical epic, historical fiction. For example, Mughal Azam is historical fiction. Then alternate history, where you have rewriting of historical events for the sake of speculative outcomes. Please note down. Next, horror movies, where terror is used as a form of entertainment. You have subgenres such as ghost, monster, vampire, zombie, occult, extension of pure reason, and use of paranormal themes to introduce elements of horror. Then there is science fiction, which is the mixture of speculation and science. Here again you have subgenres such as apocalyptic, cyberpunk, dystopian, space opera, utopian, etc. Then you have tragedy. It is a drama based on human suffering that invokes an accompanying catharsis in audiences. So you have horror, science fiction, and tragedy. Please note down. Next, you have romance, which depict the intimate relationships. Then comedy, which invoke humor and laughter. You have dark comedy, parody, romantic comedy, satire, sitcom, etc. Slapstick comedy. For example, Ajab Prem Ki Gajab Kahani is a romantic comedy. Next, you have musical. It originated as stage plays, but soon became popular cinema genre where characters sing songs and perform dance numbers. For example, Ashiki. It is an example of musical. The story is not that important. The songs and the melody is more important. Then you have thrillers, which invoke excitement, suspense, and anxiety. Under thrillers, you have mystery, psychological thriller, mystery and psychological thriller. Please note down romance, comedy, musical, and thriller. Then the next one is war genre, where large-scale conflicts between opposing forces are depicted. They can be historical accounts or fictionalized events or future speculations that incorporate civilian interaction, political interaction, and espionage that takes place alongside a large-scale violent conflict. And the last one is Western genre. It is more applicable to Hollywood movies than the Indian movies. It is set in 19th century American West, often features horse riding, military expansion, violent and non-violent interaction with Native American tribes, the creation of railways, gunfights, technology created during the Industrial Revolution. So here we finish with genres of cinema. Let's summarize. Definition of cinema: visual art form used to simulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories, perceptions, feelings, beauty, or atmosphere through the use of moving images, generally accompanied by sound. Genres of cinema are action, animation, comedy, crime, drama, fantasy, experimental, historical, horror, mythological, romance, science fiction, tragedy, thriller, musical, war, western, etc. So here we finish with cinema.
मैम समरी पार्ट अगर सीरीज हो गई है
क्या हुआ अंकुश?
मैम समरी पार्ट
समरी में वही है. एक मिनट.
स्क्रीनशॉट है
एक मिनट, मैंने बंद कर दिया, चालू कर दिया. ये देखिए समरी.
डन मैम हो गया.
Okay, so I'm continuing with television, as I told you before. Can you see television?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Our learning objectives are to define television, to describe technological development of television, to enumerate highlights in the history of television, to explain the various television formats, to discuss advantages and disadvantages of television. History of television. Telecommunication medium used for transmitting moving pictures and sounds is known as television. The first mechanical television transmission was undertaken by John Logie Baird when he transmitted a signal over 438 miles, that is 705 kilometers, of telephone line between London and Glasgow in the year 1927. The first color transmission was the credit of first color transmission also goes to John Logie Baird in the year 1928. First television station was set up by WGY Television in the year 1928. First stereoscopic 3D television demonstration was again undertaken by John Logie Baird on 10th August 1928. Okay, so who invented television? The answer is John Logie Baird. First electronic television demonstration was done by Philo Farnsworth in the year 1928. First regular high-definition television service was started by EMI engineering team led by Isaac Schoenberg in the year 1932. First public demonstration of an all-electronic television system using a live camera was performed by Philo Farnsworth at Franklin Institute of Philadelphia on August 25, 1934. First 625 line television standard was developed by Soviet Union in the year 1944. First national live television broadcast in US was telecasted when President Harry Truman's telecasted during President Harry Truman's speech at the Japanese Peace Treaty in San Francisco on September 4, 1951. First satellite television signals telecast from Europe to North America via Telestar satellite over Atlantic Ocean, June 23, 1962. Mid-1980s, Sony Corporation developed HD TV technology. Please note down these points. Now we come to history of television in India. The experimental telecast was started in Delhi on 15 September 1959. There was one particular experiment that was known as Satellite Instructional Television Experiment, SITE. It was started as a joint venture of NASA, America, and ISRO in India in the year 1975. SITE is very important. It was a joint venture of America and India. In this particular experiment, programs related to agriculture, health, and family planning were telecasted. Entertainment in the form of dance, music, drama, folk, and rural art forms were also included. So basically, you had two types of programs: one, informational programs, and number two, entertainment programs. Television services were separated from radio in the year 1976. Till 1976, television was a part of radio. National telecast started in the year 1982. Introduction of color television in India also took place in the year 1982. In the year 1982, Asian Games were organized in India, and it gave a boost to the television in India. With LPG policy, liberalization, privatization, and globalization in the year 1991, private and foreign television broadcasting was introduced in India. In the year 1997, Prasar Bharati was formed as statutory autonomous body. We have already seen Prasar Bharati when we have done radio. Now we come to SITE, 1975. Its full form is Satellite Instructional Television Experiment. It was a joint venture of NASA, America, and ISRO in India. It was implemented from 1st August 1975 to 31st July 1976, exactly 1 year. 2,400 villages in 20 districts of 6 states were chosen for this particular experiment. These states were Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, and Rajasthan. Main objectives were A. To educate the financially backward and academically illiterate people of India on various issues via satellite broadcasting. B. To help India gain technical experience in the field of satellite communications. It telecasted the programs related to agriculture, health, and family planning. Please note down, SIT is very important. Now we come to television formats, types of programs that are telecasted on television. If the name of any particular program is given, you should be able to identify the television format of that particular program. First one is animation, which is the manipulation of inanimate objects to make them appear alive. For example, Jungle Book. Comedy, humor and laughter, which has happy ending. Crime show, which deals with both the sides of criminal justice system but does not focus on legislative matters or civil suits and legal actions. So Southern India, Crime Patrol, these are the examples of crime show. Dance show, live dance performance in front of an audience. Documentary, non-fiction program intended to document reality, primarily for the purpose of instruction, education, or maintaining a historical record. Programs on National Geographic, Discovery channels, they fall under this particular category. Please note down. I repeat, animation, comedy, crime show, dance show, and documentary. Next, you have horror show, using terror as a form of entertainment. Music concert, live music performance in front of an audience. Mythological serials, which are based on mythology such as Ramayana and Mahabharata. Then news bulletin, where you have local, regional, and national news items. Quiz shows, question and answer program in which prizes are offered to the winners. For example, Kaun Banega Karodpati. Reality show, unscripted television program where ordinary people participate. Big Boss. Please note down, I repeat, horror show, music concert, mythological serials, news bulletin, quiz show, reality show. Next, we come to soap opera, television serial dealing especially with domestic situations and frequently characterized by melodrama and sentimentality. क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी, कहानी घर घर थी. These are all soap operas. Next, you have sports telecast, live telecast of a match or a TV show about sports events, matches, athletes, etc. Then we come to talk show, television genre structured around the act of spontaneous conversation. For example, Satyameva Jayate by Amir Khan. Then next one is tragedy. It is a form of drama based on human suffering that invokes an accompanying catharsis in audiences. Please note down. I repeat, soap opera, sports telecast, talk show, and tragedy.
मैम
Yes.
मैम हमारा फाउंडेशन कोर्स का लेक्चर है अभी.
मैंने पहले ही बोला था, थोड़ा सा ही बाकी है.
ओके मैम.
मैं ये वापस से करने वाली नहीं हूँ. मैं हमेशा 10 बजे का लेक्चर लेती हूँ, तब तुम्हारा हिंदी का लेक्चर चालू है, अभी तुम्हारा दूसरा लेक्चर आ रहा है, तो फिर ये बाकी रह जाएगा. सिर्फ कितने 3 या 4 स्लाइड बाकी अभी.
ओके मैम, श्योर.
ओके मैम.
Then we come to advantages of television. It is an audio visual means, so its impact is more than mere radio. It keeps on updating people about the information. It is easy and inexpensive source of entertainment. It promotes talent among common people through various talent shows. There is something known as social surrogacy. It means giving company to lonely people. When you are alone, you have company in the form of television. You don't feel loneliness. You feel all the characters in the in a television show are actually moving around you. Next, economic growth through advertising and marketing. Please note down. Advantages of television. Next, disadvantages of television. Exposure to pornography and violence. Correlation between watching television and health issues such as obesity. People who watch a lot of television develop certain type of medical problems. Then isolation from outside society. You don't like to meet the actual people. You are happy with your imaginary characters in a serial. Then television is also known as idiot box. Watching it is only waste of time. Next one is propagation of stereotypes and prejudice, such as racism and sexism. Then promotion of consumerism. When you see the ads of various products, you feel that you must buy them. So that is the promotion of consumerism. Then television addiction. If you watch television for a long time, it becomes a type of addiction. You cannot give up on television. So now we come to summarization. Television is a telecommunication medium used for transmitting moving pictures and sound. Television formats are animation, comedy, crime show, dance show, documentary, horror show, music concert, mythological serials, news bulletin, quiz show, reality show, soap opera, sports telecast, talk show, and tragedy. Please note down. Then we come to Satellite Instructional Television Experiment, that is SITE, which was a joint venture of NASA and ISRO in India in 1975. NASA, America, ISRO, India. Advantages of television. It is an audiovisual medium, updating information, easy and inexpensive entertainment, promoting talent through talent shows, social surrogacy, economic growth through advertising. Disadvantages of television: exposure to pornography and violence, correlation between watching television and health issues, isolation from society, waste of time, propagation of stereotypes and prejudice, promotion of consumerism, and television addiction. So here we finish with television. So now only one topic is left that I will do in the next lecture, which is also your last lecture. Okay, so now you can leave.